I was turning 30 that day. It was September 6th, 1990, a warm Saturday. I had planned a small party for my daughter and me, who was about to turn 12. Nothing big, just cake and some friends over later. My sister and I took our kids to Mom and Dad's house for our usual Saturday bagel routine. Mom was actually my stepmom. Dad had married her about 5 years earlier, after my real mom passed away. Her name was Linda, and she always gave me this creepy vibe. She had these cold, calculating eyes that seemed to scan everything like she was adding up dollar signs. She was always talking about the house, the savings, the property Dad owned. It felt like she married him more for the security than anything else. But I tried to ignore it for Dad's sake. Dad wasn't there that morning. He was over at his parents' house, mowing their lawn like he did every weekend to help out. He had called me earlier, his voice cheerful as always. "Happy birthday, Robbio. See you later." I laughed and said back, "Love you, Daddy-o." That was our thing, those silly nicknames. We sat down for bagels, cream cheese, lox, the works. The kids were playing, my daughter giggling with her cousins. It was nice, normal. About 45 minutes in, the phone rang. Linda answered it in the kitchen. I saw her face go completely white, like all the blood just vanished. She kept repeating, "A stroke? A stroke?" Her voice was shaky, but something about it felt off, almost rehearsed. She hung up and turned to us, her eyes wide. "It's your grandfather," she said. "Your father, he's in the hospital." My heart dropped. "Dad? Hospital?" My then husband and my brother-in-law jumped up, rushing to Linda's side to calm her. My sister and I didn't waste time. We grabbed the kids, loaded them into my car, and sped over to my grandparents' house. On the drive, I played this stupid game in my head to keep calm. If I get all green lights, he's fine. If I see kids playing outside, he's fine. If a bird flies by, he's okay. Anything to trick myself into believing it wasn't bad. The windows were down, warm air blowing in. It was a perfect September day, but everything felt wrong. As we pulled up to the house, I heard this sound. It was like nothing I'd ever heard. Loud, gut-wrenching wailing. It was coming from inside. Grandma, my real grandma, was on the porch, crumpled over, sobbing so hard it echoed down the street. That sound haunts me still, pure sorrow and pain. We ran up. My daughter spotted something in the grass, Dad's glasses, smashed and bent. She picked them up, confused. "Mom, these are Grandpa's," she said, "but I meant my dad, her grandpa." "No, wait, Dad was her grandpa?" "No, my dad was her grandpa." "I'm messing up. My dad was the one who died, her grandfather." Anyway, she held them, and I felt sick. My grandfather came back from the hospital soon after, just shaking his head. He didn't say a word at first, but his face said it all. The family started showing up, uncles, aunts. That's when we learned the truth. Dad hadn't had a stroke. It was a massive heart attack. He collapsed right there on the lawn while mowing. The sanitation workers driving by saw it happen. They jumped off their truck, tried CPR with Grandpa, but it was no use. He was gone before he even hit the ground. The rest of that day is a blur. No party, obviously. We all just sat there, numb. Linda showed up eventually, acting all distraught, hugging everyone. But her eyes, they darted around the room, like she was already thinking about what came next. The house, the money. It creeped me out, but I pushed it down. Grief does weird things. For the next 15 years, I couldn't hear happy birthday without snapping. I forbade it. If someone slipped up, I'd school them hard. Don't say that to me. Ever, even now, 36 years later, I don't really celebrate. September 6th is just a day I get through. But I do have huge respect for sanitation workers. They're heroes in my book. A few months after Dad died, things got weirder. I was at the house helping sort through his stuff. Linda had been living there alone, and she was pushing to sell everything quickly. "We need to move on," she'd say, but her tone was eager, not sad. One day, I was cleaning out the kitchen cabinets, way in the back where no one looks. I found this bottle of syrup, hidden behind some old cans. It was unlabeled, just a plain glass bottle with thick, dark liquid. Weird place for syrup, I thought. I took it home and searched online about it. Turns out it wasn't regular syrup. I typed in the description, the color, even snapped a photo, and uploaded it to some forums. What I found chilled me to the bone. It matched descriptions of a homemade mixture with digoxin, a heart medication extracted from foxglove plants. It's prescribed for heart issues, but in high doses, it's deadly, especially for older people like Dad in his late 50s. It can cause irregular heartbeats, leading to a massive attack. And get this, it's hard to detect in autopsies if you don't look for it specifically. Dad's death was ruled natural, no foul play suspected. But this bottle? It had residue that tested positive when I sent a sample to a lab anonymously. I started piecing it together. Linda had been a nurse years ago. She knew about meds. She'd been complaining about Dad's laziness with chores, how the property taxes were eating into their savings. She wanted it all for herself. The creepy stares, the rush to sell, it fit. She'd been slipping it into his food or coffee, building up until that day. The mowing probably pushed his heart over the edge. I couldn't sleep after that. Nightmares of Dad collapsing, Linda watching from afar with that cold smile. I called the police anonymously at first, gave them the details. They reopened the case, tested the bottle, and exhumed Dad's body for toxicology. Traces of digoxin showed up. Linda denied it, but they found foxglove plants in her garden, hidden out back. Emails on her computer about natural heart remedies and inheritance laws. They arrested her a week later. She screamed innocence, but the evidence piled up. The trial was quick. She got life for murder. The wailing at the house that day? Grandma's was real, but Linda's tears later were fake. She killed my dad for the money. I remember my 16th birthday like it was yesterday, even though it's been a few years now. My name is Smith, and I live in a quiet suburb outside Chicago. My older brother, Alan, who's 22, always loved pulling pranks. He said he wanted to make my birthday unforgettable, so he organized the whole party at our house. Our parents were out of town for the weekend, visiting relatives in Ohio, so it was just me, Alan, and about a dozen friends from school. The party started around 7 p.m. on a Friday. Alan had decorated the living room with balloons and streamers, and he ordered pizzas from Domino's and a cake from the local Walmart bakery. My friends showed up one by one, guys like Ben, Tyler, and Chris, and a few girls, including Sophia and Emily. We were playing video games on the Xbox, blasting from Spotify on the Bluetooth speaker, and just hanging out. Alan was acting all mysterious, grinning every time he looked at me. About an hour in, he pulled me aside in the kitchen and said, "Hey bro, I've got a surprise prank lined up. I hired some actors from a local theater group to stage a fake home invasion. They'll burst in with masks and toy guns, scare everyone a bit, then reveal it's all fake. Don't ruin it, act scared at first." I laughed and rolled my eyes. Alan was always doing stuff like this. Last year he hid in my closet dressed as a clown to freak me out. I figured it'd be harmless fun, so I played along. "All right, man, just don't make it too crazy," I said. We went back to the party, and everything felt normal. People were taking selfies on their iPhones, posting on Snapchat, and munching on chips from Costco bags. Around 9 p.m., that's when it happened. The lights flickered. Alan must have set that up with the smart bulbs we have from Philips Hue, and then the back door slammed open. 4 guys in black ski masks rushed in, shouting, "Everyone on the ground! This is a robbery!" They had what looked like fake pistols, the kind you get from Amazon with orange tips, and one had a knife that seemed plastic. My friends screamed and dropped to the floor. Sophia started crying, and Ben yelled, "What the hell?" I pretended to be shocked, but inside I was chuckling. I even hissed to Tyler next to me, "Dude, this is Alan's prank. Chill." The intruders started herding us into the living room, zip-tying our hands with those cheap plastic ties from Home Depot. Alan was tied up too, winking at me when no one was looking. One of the guys, whom I'll call Mask 1, he was tall and skinny, demanded wallets and phones. "Hand over your stuff, or else." He barked in a fake tough voice. People were panicking, but I kept saying, "Guys, it's probably just a joke. Alan loves this crap." Emily shot me a dirty look. "Smith, shut up! This isn't funny." That's when I started noticing little things that felt off. The script Alan had described was simple. Scare us, take fake loot, then unmask and laugh. But one of the intruders, this shorter guy with a bulkier build, Mask 4, wasn't following the others. He was quieter, moving around the edges of the room, rummaging through drawers in the kitchen while the others yelled. I saw him pocket my mom's jewelry box from the counter, the one with her real gold earrings from Macy's. Hey, I thought, that's not part of the prank. But I shook it off. Maybe Alan added extras. The horror really kicked in when Mask 4 came back. He had a knife in his hand, but up close, it didn't look like the plastic ones the others had. This one had a serrated edge, like a real kitchen knife from our IKEA set. No shiny fake gleam, it was dull steel. He leaned down near Sophia, who was sobbing on the carpet, and pressed it against her arm. "Give me your necklace," he growled, his voice low and raspy, not theatrical like the others. Sophia fumbled it off, a cheap silver chain from Target, but her arm got nicked slightly. A thin line of blood appeared. "Ow!" she yelped. My heart started pounding. "Wait, that's real blood," I muttered. I looked at Alan, who was across the room, his eyes wide now. He mouthed, "What?" I tried to yell, "Alan, that's not fake. The knife's real." But one of the actors, masked too, shouted over me, "Quiet, kid," sticking to the script. My friends thought I was still joking. Chris even laughed nervously. "Smith, stop messing around. This is scary enough." The chaos built from there. The intruders were supposed to wrap up soon, but Mask 4 kept escalating. He smashed a vase from our mantel, real ceramic, not a prop, and started collecting phones into a black duffel bag, the kind you buy at Dick's Sporting Goods. "No calls to the cops," he said, but his tone was dead serious, not playful. I remembered Alan saying the actors would pretend to cut the phone lines, but this guy was actually yanking the landline cord from the wall and stomping on it with his boots. Timberlands, I think. I struggled against my zip ties, which were tighter than they should be. "Guys, listen! This one's not an actor," I hissed to Ben and Tyler. "Look at his knife. It's from our kitchen." Ben glanced over and frowned. "Dude, you're paranoid. Alan planned this." But then Mask 4 grabbed Emily's purse, rifling through it roughly, and when she protested, he shoved her hard against the couch. She hit her head on the armrest and a bruise started forming. That wasn't acting. Alan finally caught on. He started yelling, "Okay, prank's over. Guys, stop!" The three actors hesitated, looking confused under their masks. Mask 1 pulled his off. It was some college kid named Ryan, who Alan knew from work at Starbucks. "Wait, what?" "We're following the plan," Ryan said, sounding puzzled. But Mask 4 didn't stop. He bolted toward the front door with the duffel full of phones, wallets, and jewelry. "Screw this," he muttered, his voice muffled. Panic exploded. Alan shouted, "That's not one of ours!" The actors untied us quickly, fumbling with scissors from the drawer. We all rushed after him, but he was fast. He jumped the fence in the backyard, our chain link one from Lowe's, and vanished into the night. Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone must have called 911 from a neighbor's house, hearing the screams. The police arrived in about 10 minutes, 2 squad cars from the local precinct. They took statements, but it was a mess. My friends were traumatized. Sophia needed stitches for her arm, and Emily had a concussion. The actors confessed everything, showing emails from Alan hiring them off Craigslist for $200 each. Alan got in huge trouble, community service and a fine for wasting police resources. But the real criminal? He got away clean. The cop said he probably saw the actors arriving earlier, blended in with a similar mask he grabbed from somewhere, and used the prank as cover. Our neighborhood had a string of burglaries that summer, targeting houses in suburbs like ours. They never caught him. Our phones were gone, iPhones, Samsungs, all with our photos and contacts. Insurance covered some, but the violations stuck. I still check locks twice at night and birthdays. I keep them low-key now. Alan apologizes every year, but that night haunts me. What if I'd spoken up sooner? What if that knife had gone deeper? It's scary how a dumb prank can turn real horror in seconds. It was my 21st birthday, and I was stoked. I'd been planning this party for weeks. I rented a big Airbnb house in the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia, one of those older homes with a huge backyard perfect for a barbecue. I invited about 30 friends from college and high school, plus some family. My little brother, Jake, who was only 14, came along because my parents wanted him to keep an eye on things. He mostly stayed in the living room, glued to his Nintendo Switch, playing Fortnite. The party kicked off around 7 p.m. on a warm Friday in June. We had a playlist blasting from my Bluetooth speaker, stuff like Drake and Post Malone. The grill was sizzling with burgers from Walmart, and everyone was laughing, snapping selfies on their iPhones. It felt like one of those nights you'd never forget. Around 9 p.m., this guy shows up at the door. He was in his late 30s, maybe early 40s, with short brown hair, wearing a plain black hoodie and jeans. He had a backpack slung over one shoulder. I didn't know him, but at parties like this, people bring plus ones all the time. He smiled and said, "Hey, happy birthday. I'm a friend of Mike's." Mike was one of my college buddies who'd invited a few others, so I figured he was cool. I let him in and pointed to the snack table. "Grab some chips or whatever," I said. He nodded and blended into the crowd. I didn't think much of it at first. I was busy joking with friends and playing cornhole in the backyard. But as the night went on, I started noticing weird things. This guy, I'll call him the stranger since I never got his name, wasn't really talking to anyone. He'd stand near groups listening but not joining in. A couple of times I caught him pulling small plastic bags from his pocket like those tiny Ziploc ones you get at CVS. He'd mess with them when he thought no one was watching. My friend Nichols pulled me aside around 10:30. "That guy in the hoodie creeps me out," she hissed. "He keeps staring at people, and I swear I saw him drop something in a cup on the table." My stomach twisted. I hadn't seen that, but Nichols is not the type to make stuff up. I decided to keep an eye on him. I started watching the stranger more closely. He was hovering near the kitchen, where a bunch of red Solo cups were lined up. I saw him lean over one, his hand moving quickly, like he was dropping something in. My heart raced. Was he trying to drug someone? I told Nichols to stick with our friends and went to check on Jake. He was still in the living room, headphones on, oblivious to everything. I went back to the kitchen and confronted the guy. "Hey man, what's your deal?" I asked, trying to sound casual. He gave me this fake smile and said, "Just enjoying the party, birthday boy." His voice was too smooth, like he was hiding something. I told him I didn't know him and asked him to leave. He shrugged, grabbed his backpack, and walked out the front door. I thought that was the end of it. Around midnight, people started heading home. I was cleaning up when my mom called, frantic. "Where's Jake?" she asked. My heart stopped. I ran to the living room. His switch was on the couch, but he was gone. I searched the house, the backyard, everywhere. No Jake. My friends helped me look, but he wasn't there. Nichols said she'd seen him talking to someone near the front door earlier, but she didn't think much of it. Panic hit me hard. I called 911. The police showed up fast. I told them everything, including about the stranger. I described him: black hoodie, jeans, backpack. They asked if anyone else had seen him, and a few friends confirmed they had. One of my cousins said she saw the guy talking to Jake outside, saying something about showing him a cool game. My knees went weak. Had this guy taken my brother? The cops put out an alert and started searching the area. They told us to stay at the house in case Jake came back. Hours passed, and I was losing it, picturing the worst. Around 4 a.m. my phone rang. It was the police. They'd found the stranger hiding in an abandoned building about a mile away, an old warehouse off Peachtree Road that kids used to sneak into. He had Jake's phone and some of those plastic bags with white powder in them. The cops said it looked like drugs, maybe something to knock people out. They arrested him on the spot. Jake was found wandering near the warehouse, scared but unharmed. He said the guy offered to show him a new game on his phone, lured him outside, and tried to get him to go somewhere cool. Jake got spooked and ran, but the guy took his phone. The police are still investigating what the stranger was planning, but they think he was targeting kids at parties, maybe to rob them or worse. I can't shake the guilt. It was my party, my house, and I let that guy in. Jake's okay, but he's shaken up, and so am I. I keep thinking about those plastic bags, what could have happened if Nichols hadn't noticed or if Jake hadn't run. My 21st birthday was supposed to be a blast, but it's a night I'll never forget for all the wrong reasons.